Hey, it's Adrian, and today I'm taking a look at AOSU Security Cam D1 SE. This is a very impressive security camera. It comes with a ton of features such as 3K recording. We have very fast motion detection, automatic AI tracking. There's 24/7 recording, a super bright spotlight, very loud speakers, and a ton of security features such as intrusion detection and parking guard. And on top of all of that, there's 0 monthly fees to get full functionality out of this system. So let's take a closer look at the C5E and you can see if this is worth it for you. And a big thanks to AOSU for sending this out for review. In the package, we have the camera, mounting plate, security sticker, quick start guide, power adapter, and mounting screws. The design is a little bit different than AOSU's previous D1 model of camera. So there's a really rounded camera module here. So we have the camera lens and then this 400 lumen LED spotlight right there. Now at the bottom here is where we have this weather sealed area with the reset button and a micro SD card slot, which I've already inserted a micro SD card into. And then at the very rear we have a speaker grill. And of course you have full pan and tilt functionality with this complete rotating module. The sides of the camera have adjustable Wi-Fi antennas, the back has pre-ran wiring, and then we have an area where we're going to attach the mounting plate or mounting bracket. Installation is very simple, so you're going to just attach the mounting plate with the 3 screw holes, and you can see it says up. Once you have this positioned on a wall, you're just going to slide it till you hear it click, and then the camera is installed. And then to remove it, you're just going to pull this tab and then slide the camera body down. Specs include a 5 megapixel sensor at 2880 by 1620 resolution at 20 frames per second. There's 100 degrees field of view, 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi support, black and white and color night vision, an IP65 weather rating. The operating temperature is -20 to 55 degrees Celsius. There's 24/7 continuous recording or event-based recording. There's detection for human, cars, pets, etc. Up to a 512 gigabyte micro SD card support and a 400 lumen spotlight. I've plugged the camera in, so I'm just going to add it to the AOSU app now. So I'm going to click on plus here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add it. It automatically found it very quickly. And I'm just going to pick a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection right here, put in my password.
The camera is connecting to your Wi-Fi network. It may take a moment. Please wait for a while. Save settings successfully.
So the camera was added really quickly. I'm just going to start live view, make sure that works. And we're good to install. Let's take a look at the AOSU app settings. So as soon as you open it up, you could see what the camera last accessed when you looked at live view. The Wi-Fi signal is great. Now I can go ahead and hit snooze and snooze this from 30 minutes up to 4 hours. If I'm going to be coming and going and I don't want to be alerted, I can jump directly into events, and you can see it defaults to local since I only have local storage. I haven't gotten the cloud plan right now, and you can see that it breaks it down by passing, lawn surveillance, intrusion area. These are all things you could set in the app, and I'll go over that later. You can also turn the light on manually, on or off right from here, and you could set the timeout time for that, and then you could go into the full settings, of course. But let's start with live view first. So I'm just going to jump into live view, and that pulls up fairly quickly. Note that I am using my phone's 5G network instead of Wi-Fi, so whether you're at home or away and you want to monitor, it's quite easy to do so. So you can see it's a pretty clear image, very sharp, and of course I could go into a full screen view, kind of zoom in and take a look across the street at whatever is going on. So the video quality on here is quite good. But let me get out of that now. You can see it's set to UHD, but you can also set this to just standard definition if you want to save on bandwidth. And of course, while I'm looking at this, I can just go ahead and take a manual recording if I saw something interesting while looking at live view. And then I can also go ahead and take a snapshot. Now, if you set this to 24/7 recording, you don't actually have to take any manual recordings. And I do have it set to 24/7 recording, which is great. And then you could turn sound on or off. Now, really cool is this panoramic stitched image that it's generated. So say I wanted to take a quick look at my backyard door area here, I could just tap right over there and the camera's automatically gonna pan over there. Now, if I wanted to pan and tilt at the same time, I could just look at this, far lower area here. You could see as it pans, it's automatically gonna tilt as well. And that's quite responsive. And it's just gonna go back to kind of like this default position when it's done. Of course, you can also manually pan and tilt as you see fit, and that works really well, and it's very responsive as well. And it actually pans pretty much all the way down if someone was standing, directly below the camera, and that works really well. And of course, you can also take a 360-degree look around if you like to. Looking at the bottom, we could go ahead and turn the light on or off from here as well, and I can also change the tone so it's more of a male filter. And you can hear the microphone pickup is really good as cars are coming and going. It's very accurate at picking that up. Now I can also start two-way talk, and the speakers on here are so loud. I'll demo that later so you can hear that. I can also go ahead and trigger this alarm, which is also going to be quite loud. If I click on more, I can go ahead and send out voice alerts. So, please put the package at the door. Hey, what are you doing here? Please get out of here. But I didn't find a way to record my own. You can also disable the tracking on or off if you just want the camera in a fixed position, but I like it to follow. Then you can calibrate it, and you can also set up this cruise where it's just going to cruise between, preset points that you selected. But for the most part, I just like it on tracking. But let's take a look at the full settings. And the camera is on. You could temporarily turn it on if you want privacy or you just don't want to be bothered. You could change the camera name. You can also share the device with friends and family, which is very handy. Now, if we go into AI surveillance, this is where you have pretty much full customization over what you want to monitor. Now, by default, it has human detection on, and I also have the intrusion area set up. Now, I set this up to test. I will demo it later, but basically you're going to set kind of like a zone, and you could set more than one zone. You can see I can drag out and, just kind of resize this as I see fit. So you can have multiple zones on here. And then whenever someone's in the zone, you could go into alarm, enable that, and then you could say, hey, I want, the light to come on, I want the alarm sound, and you can play an alarm, a welcome, you can play this voice command, either of these two, and then you could set how loud you want that to come on. I will demo that later. That works really well, and it is quite responsive. And then you could set, do you want this every day, or do you want this to just kick in at night? On top of setting an intrusion area, which is more for people and vehicles, you can see there's also an option for vehicle detection. So that's good. Anytime the camera notices a vehicle is going to record it, you could filter it in the events. Now, what's really important is parking guard. Now, this is something I haven't been able to test on this camera because I installed it on the side of my house, not on my garage. But I did test AOSU's floodlight cam, which has the exact same feature, and it works like a charm. There is something called lawn surveillance, and this is anytime there's a human or animal intrusion on your lawn. Whereas when we went into intrusion, this is for human or vehicle. So, a little bit of a difference there, but either of them work really well. And then you also have this option for pet detection, which is a beta feature. And looking at the surveillance settings, so we can see motion detection is on. I've set it to intelligent detection. I only want to be notified of humans, animals, and vehicles. If you put it to detect all, like it's saying, there may be false alarms, like say the trees swaying in the wind or something like that. And then track motion is also on. Now, I left it on the default sensitivity, which is just one level higher than middle, and it's been so quick and responsive, so I just recommend leaving it on the default. We can also go into auto cruise, and I normally don't use this, but just to show you how it works, you can set a panoramic cruise. It's just gonna automatically horizontally pan, or you can set a spot cruise where you can actually just, rotate the camera to 4 preset spots, and it's just gonna cycle through those like I have set up on here. You can also set when you want the auto cruise to take place. So right now the default is Mondays to Fridays 9 to 5, but you can also set, custom time periods if you like. Under notifications, you can decide to receive notifications, and you can decide if you want it, all day, every day, or if you just want to get those at certain times of the day so you're not bothered. Now, I have it set to immediate mode, so as soon as it detects motion, it's just going to go ahead and send me an alert. This is the quickest way. Or you can set it to intelligent mode, where it's going to kind of perform an analysis with its algorithm and then send you an alert. Under cloud recording, this is where you would go if you just want to buy a cloud plan. Now, I've tested this camera without any cloud plans, and it's worked flawlessly for me, so it's not something that's needed. But you can activate a 7-day trial if you like, and you do have plans that start at $11.99 for a 2-device plan, and then you could go up to 3-device, 5-device, etc. Under local recording mode, this is where you could set it for 24/7 recording, which is what I've set it to. So it's going to be encrypted, and it's going to be circularly stored. So as soon as the memory card gets full, it's going to override the oldest file. Or you could set it to record by event, so you're just going to cycle through event-based recordings. I recommend just leaving it on all time recording so it's always recording, and then you could just filter by event. Under video and audio, you could set the streaming quality. So I've set it to the 3K quality, but you can set it to smooth if your internet connection is not as good. And then for night vision mode, I've just left it on automatic and it's been working flawlessly for me, but you do have the option to set it to intelligent night vision or to turn off the infrared light. And then you could set the speaker again. They do get quite loud, and you could set if you want to record sound or not. Under light settings, this is where you can set a delay for turning off the light. So it can be from 30 seconds all the way up to 15 minutes. And then you could set it for the manual lighting. So anytime you turn the lights on manually, it's going to stay on always, or for 30 minutes all the way up to 5 hours. And then you can also set the brightness adjustment. You can also set a schedule for when you want the camera to sleep. You may want it to sleep during the day and just to be active at night. And then I do recommend keeping the LED status light on to let people know that the camera is being powered. But this is really only going to show up basically at night. So during the day, I've just set it so that, the LEDs come on by setting a lawn intrusion area. You can also turn the status LED light on or off, but it's only going to be something they kind of notice at night. During the day, it's a little bit underpowered to really see. And we do have access or compatibility with Amazon, Alexa, and Google. Under About Device, this is where I could take a look at my memory card space, how much I've used, how much is remaining, and my signal strength is great as well. By the way, if you're finding this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing, but let's get back to it. To review recorded video, we'll tap on Events, and you can see it defaults to local because I don't have a cloud plan. And you can see right away that's quite responsive, and the tracking is just so smooth on here. If I tap on the other clip, right below it, give that a sec to load up. Again, very responsive tracking. Now, if I tap on lawn surveillance here, this is from me testing this earlier to see how this feature worked. And you can see because I stood there for quite a bit of time, it's a huge chunk of recording, but I was just kind of pacing back and forth to see how well the camera panned and tilted in real time, which it did. Now under intrusion area, this is where I set it up so that I could just kind of play around with that and hear the alert. So you can see that was very quick. Now I'll play the second clip. Once I clear the fence, it just pans towards me and quickly issues that alert within a matter of seconds.
Warning, you have entered a high-definition surveillance area.
And here's another demo.
This is a private area. Please leave immediately.
So you can see that's just very quick and responsive at, capturing me as soon as I emerge from the fence and then issuing me that alert. And that's going to work just as fast if you use the parking guard feature as well. Now, one thing to note is you could see that this is kind of broken up into different chunks of what happened in the day. Now, what I can also do is I could just go into, let's go into yesterday. There was more going on. And I could say, hey, I just want to be notified if there was a pet, for example. I'll hit confirm. And you can see it showing this first clip, there's a pet, and this one has a pet and a person. So I'll tap on the one with a pet and a person. And sure enough, there is a pet and a person there, and I'll just tap on this one with a pet. And again, this is a beta feature, so it didn't pick up the people this time, but it definitely picked up that there were pets. So that works very well, and you can see there's just a bunch of different type of filters that you can apply depending on what you have set up in the app. One thing to note is that you can see on a lot of these clips, I do have a thumbnail preview, so I know what I'm clicking into before I actually tap on the video. So this one right here, I can see that there are two people walking, for example. But on a lot of the other clips here, you could see the thumbnails are not generated yet. So there seems to be a little bit of a delay with this system in terms of how it generates. In some cases, there's a ton of thumbnails. And then in other cases, they haven't been generated yet. Just something to be mindful of. And since this camera does record 24/7, I actually don't need to, take a look at what actually has transpired in one of these blocks. I could just scroll through to any time of the day and take a look at what's going on. So, there was a car moving there, it didn't tag it. But if I just move over into this recorded event, it's gonna pull up a person. So yeah, if something was just far out of the detection zone, I can actually just scrub through this horizontal timeline and take a look at it. Very convenient and handy. The video quality on here is fantastic. So we have 3K resolution at 20 frames per second. So the video is also fairly smooth. Now during the day, it fared wonderfully, and it didn't matter if it was a very bright and sunny day, if it was an overcast day, dusk or dawn, it was just clear all the way through. And it was really easy to make out faces and pets if they were up close or far away. And even with direct sunlight pointed at the camera lens, it still handled everything well. Night vision video was equally as good. So in the camera settings, I just left it on the automatic setting, but you do also have the option to have it with the black and white version, or you can also have it with just, no help and is just going to rely on ambient light around your house. That can also work if it's bright enough, but in general, it's best to leave it on the automatic setting. The spotlight on here is also plenty bright at 400 lumens, so this makes it an awesome deterrent if you're going to be placing it on, say, your driveway or, to monitor your garage and you're using the parking guard or intrusion feature. Now for me, I used it at the side of my house and it also did a fairly good job at illuminating the side of my house anytime there was motion detected. So the motion detection was truly standout with this camera system. It was very quick at detecting me and sticky afterwards. And I did a couple of tests where I kind of hid behind my fence, walked out, and the camera quickly got a hold of me and then issued any type of intrusion warning or alarms, which I'll play later on to demo it. Now the other thing is this also worked very well at night. So I walked kind of on the sidewalk in front of my house. I also walked in the middle of the road, which is about a good 30 to 35 feet away. And this is rated for about 30 to 50 feet away. So it definitely is capable of tracking people or subjects from a far distance and still panning and tilting. Once I tapped on an app alert, which comes very quickly since I've set it to the immediate mode, it quickly pulled the app up and jumped me into live view, and then I could get a live view of whatever was going on. And you could see in this clip, I'm just walking back and forth, just pacing back and forth, and it's a very quick real-time update with very minimal delay. If you decide to set up specific detection zones in the AOSU app, whenever you get those app alerts on your phone, it will reference the exact zone, so you know right at a glance exactly where motion is occurring. Here's a demo of the intrusion feature and the lawn surveillance feature.
This is a private area. Please leave immediately. Warning. You have entered a high-definition surveillance area.
Now, I live in an area where there is a lot of car thefts ongoing, and the parking guard feature on here is something I really wish I could have tested, but because I didn't mount this or install it where my garage is, I couldn't test that feature out. However, I did test that feature on AOSU's floodlight camera, and it performed wonderfully there as well. So I'm just going to play a demo of that so you have an idea exactly how it would work with this camera system.
Do not approach the vehicles. Stay clear.
There's also a ton of pan and tilt customizability, so you can do that manually. You can do it with the auto cruise. You can use the pano stitch function where you just tap on an area of the generated image and it'll just pan and tilt directly there. Or you can just leave it to the AI auto tracking, which is what I've left it on, and it's worked wonderfully. All right, let's talk about the speakers, and they are just so super loud on here, and I think that's AOSU's claim to fame. Any of their security cameras you buy, expect a really loud speaker, and I think that's something a lot of brands overlook because you want to use that as a deterrent. So whether I use just, like an alarm siren or I played one of the warning messages that are auto recorded on it, it was super loud. And here's a demo of what that sounds like.
Here's an example of what two-way talk sounds like on a very windy day.
Let's put the package at the door. Thank you. Hey, what are you doing here? Please get out of here now.
All right, let's talk storage, and I have some great news. So AOSU has allowed us to have up to a 512 gigabyte micro SD card, and this is something that I wish a lot of other security camera brands would do, because if you're selling a camera that has 24/7 recording, at minimum we should be able to insert 256, but 512 to 1 terabyte is ideal. Now with this camera recording at 3K video quality and recording sound at the same time, I'm estimating I'm going to get 56 to 57 days of video playback history. That's basically 2 months of video playback history at 24/7 recording at 3K quality. That's just fantastic. So it's been a while since I reviewed a security camera that just ticks every single box for me, and the AOSU C5E is one of those cameras. Yes, it is hardwired, so you are going to have to run wiring, but it's just one single cable. That's very easy to do, and it's super easy to install it. And look at the features you get: 3K recording, 24/7 recording, automatic panning and tilting, very quick motion detection, the app pulls up quick, a very bright spotlight, very loud speakers, and there's no monthly fees. There's really nothing to not like about this camera. So if you're interested in picking up the AOSU C5E security camera, I'm going to leave some links down below, and if I have any type of coupon codes, I'll leave those down below as well. This is a seriously awesome camera. if you're looking for a hardwired option. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, a big thanks for watching all the way through, and please consider liking and subscribing. It truly does help me out a lot as a growing channel, and don't forget to check out some of my other security camera videos as well, and I'll see you in the next one soon.